Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. So today was difficult. I don't know if you had the same problems with tech. I had to sign into everything and my Google browser disappeared. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. This site is called Take What Rings True. So the whole idea is I share spiritual stuff and you decide whether you like it, makes sense to you, do you believe it or not? And if you don't believe it, that's fine. So today, I want to talk about free will. So, my name is Teresa Micheletti, and I want to talk about free will. A little bit of this I learned from spirit guides who would come into a trance class and talk through a psychic medium who was Sylvia Brown. She'd go sit on a bench on the other side, not remember anything. Her spirit guides would come in and talk to us. So, Francine and Raheem, her spirit guides, one at a time, would come in and talk to us. And one thing they talked about was free will. So, this is from my perspective of being a hypnotist and taking people to the other side and having them check their charts, talk to spirit guides, talk to master teachers about their chart. So, from the time we were created and brought into form, instead of just being a thought in our creator's mind, we had free will. Now, some people decided to accept God's light, and some people decided not to. And some people are still on the fence and have not decided whether to accept God's light or not. And that's free will choice. We come into life to learn, to experience, to gain knowledge, and to gain levels on the other side. Because there's a hierarchy of experience, and you can choose to experience or not experience. So, Earth, for centuries of time, has been a place to gain great knowledge and go up levels a lot. So, if you come to Earth for one life, it's worth centuries of time on another life for staying on the other side. You gain a lot of knowledge and you can move up levels quickly. And we write hard charts with difficult things because when we get on the other side, we'll level up. Now, when we're in life, it's kind of hard to deal with that. It's like, I didn't sign up for this awful thing. Yes, you did, but know that you did it for a higher purpose. Number one, you love God. You love our Creator because our Creator created us to experience for Him and to share our information back to Him, our experiences. So when you go through an experience, God is watching and feeling what you're feeling and seeing what you're seeing. And you experience through Him and He experiences through you. So God is continuously talking to you. We've talked about that before. So you have free will. You did have an opportunity to stay on the other side. Some people just sit under a tree on the other side and never incarnate, never come into life. And that's their choice, their free will. Francine, the spirit guide, described wanting knowledge or wanting to level up as two things, a thimble or a big bucket. So some people just want a thimble of experience. Those people who are sitting against a tree on the other side, and they're perfectly content. And then others of us want a medium sized bucket of knowledge, and other people want a giant bucket of knowledge. So you have a bunch of free will. There's a place on the other side called the Hall of Charts, and you sit there with your friends and acquaintances and people that you've met and decide who's going to be the mom, who's going to be the dad, who's going to be the kid, who's going to be the boss, who's going to be the underling, and what are the big experiences you want to experience? Do you want to go bankrupt and see what that's like? Do you want to get into an accident and see what that's like? Okay, you write those in. And then Your friends also write in that they're going to be participating in what way? Are they going to be the mom? Are they going to just be the person who passes you on the street at Starbucks? And that's the only time you see each other, even though you're good friends on the other side. You may not interact that much in this lifetime. Now you have free will to choose whatever you want to experience. And you put in a lot of stuff because you want to gain levels and you want to gain knowledge. But there's at least one area of life that you do not plan. It's called your option line, and you write it in as you go in life. But when we get here, we forget that that's the area we need to write in. So listen to these areas. When you're writing your chart on the other side, these are the areas you consider: your family, your career, your social life, your finances, your spirituality, your health, and your love life. Now, which one falls apart? That's your option line. And it's the one you should write in. So maybe you never wrote in career. So you go from career to career to career and you don't quite get it down. Or mine was love life. So when I figured that out, I wrote it in literally. I sat down and I wrote down, Sylvia, my mentor, suggested, okay, divide a paper in half, long ways. Write down all the things you don't want in a companion. Okay, then on the other side, you write what you want. And when I wrote what I wanted, it was like a script. So I took that list and I wrote out what I wanted for that person to come in. And that's what came in. That person came in. Hair color, height, sense of humor, intelligence, all that came to me because I got to free will write it in. Now, if you don't write it in, it can be a major problem. What if your option line is health? We've talked about on another video, I talked about Elizabeth Taylor. And if you're familiar with Elizabeth Taylor, she had so many health problems. It's like anything that was around, she got it. She almost died a number of times because her option line was health and it was wide open. Anything that's available, it can come to you. So if you're having a great deal of trouble with health, sit down and write it in. You want perfect health for the rest of your life. Write it in. So be specific about what you want. That's your free will in this lifetime. The other areas of your life are pretty well set for the major experiences. You've written them in. Now, if this is your last life or you're a mystical traveler, it's possible you have more than one option line. I had a friend who had three option lines, and she could write those in. So, one of her option lines was family. And I remember a spirit guide telling her, "You want two kids? Okay, fine. Write that down. Do you want them to have blonde hair and blue eyes? You want them to have red curly hair? You want them to be tall? You want them to be short?" And someone will volunteer to be your child. So, write it down. If you feel you have an option line, let me go over those again: family, career, social life, finances, spirituality, health, and love. Which area is not set in your life? Which one goes awry? That's the one you need to write in. And if you can't decide between two of them, write both of them in. It's okay. And even if one of them's already set, you took the time to write it in and think about that area of your life. So we have free will when we write the chart on the other side. And it takes years. It can take 10 years to write your chart for this one lifetime. And when you get to the other side, you can review your life. You review it. God doesn't review it. God's already seen it. You go to the Hall of Wisdom and you review your life. And if you've chosen, I have a friend who was supposed to do one career and got that close to doing it and then A psychic, Sylvia, told her that she was going to do that career. She said no and did something totally opposite. Now, when she gets to the Hall of Wisdom on the other side and reviews her life, she may go, I need something to make up for that. I did not follow through with that. Did I follow through in a different way in a lifetime? Or should I repeat that in a different life, the next life? I write that in again. We judge what we want to do. Now, if you negate that chart, which is a contract between you and God, then you need to do something to make it up. For instance, if you commit suicide, then you've left a whole bunch of holes in people's charts where they were supposed to interact with you, where you were supposed to help them get a job, where they were supposed to observe you with an illness and see how you survive it. All those things have a big hole. So, because they do, when you commit suicide, unless it's some mental disturbance, you have some kind of issue mentally and you're not able to think through clearly, when you commit suicide, 99% of the time, you go directly back into life. So, unless you have some mental issue, then if you're just, especially if you're doing it for spite, like these people are not paying attention to me, I'll show them. Then you're often caught in the tunnel on the way to the other side and immediately put into another lifetime, similar to the one you have. So you follow the same chart again. So you do have free will on the other side to write your chart. You have free will to write in your option line. And then you can moderate, you can have lateral movement for the other things. Say you're supposed to be in an accident. My friend Sylvia, my mentor, would say, okay, if you're supposed to be in a car accident, ask for a fender bender because your option is you could go all the way to you're in the hospital for 3 months. So you don't want that. You want it to be minimal. So when I found that out, I asked for all health issues and all accidents, all things that could affect me, be minimized. So my thumb has a bandage on it. That's because I must have written into my chart to trip. I was at Marshall's and they had all these mirrors stacked on the corner. You go around the corner and these mirrors are stacked going out into the aisle. And I tripped over them. And I could have gone into the mirror, had glass, been at the hospital. No, I asked for it to be minimized. So what happened was I hit the wall and split my fingernail and it started bleeding and, went to the management, got Band-Aids, all that stuff. Never hurt, still doesn't hurt. That was last week. It's still healing, but it doesn't hurt. It wasn't a major catastrophe. I didn't break any glass. So it was minimized. So you can ask for your experiences to be less harmful to you, the minimum harm possible. So I would ask for that. So if you have an experience, say you're going through an illness, you can ask for it to be minimized. Ask for it to be as little harm as possible to your body and as short a time period as possible. Now, if you wrote in, I am going to have ALS and I am going to experience it to the full extent, then you do that. So Stephen Hawking had ALS and he lived for 50 years after he was diagnosed because he wanted a longer life and he worked through it. He just dealt with it. He must have written that in his chart, but it wasn't written into his chart that he had to live 50 more years. He could have died earlier, but he chose to live longer because he had a purpose. He had something he wanted to do. So you have free will to lengthen things, to shorten things. That's the lateral movement. You can make them minimal. You could make them longer. So decide. Remember, you cannot negate your chart fully. If you cut off your chart by committing suicide, you have to repair or make up for it in some way. If you were mentally ill or impaired in some way, well, that's a different story. That's between you and God, and you don't necessarily have to come back into life. You probably wouldn't if you had some kind of mental issue. So that would be Robin Williams because he had some kind of mental issue. I think it was some kind of odd disease, and it was affecting him mentally. So he wouldn't have to come right back into life, but he could choose to. So you have free will on the other side to choose whatever you want in life. You have free will on this side to write in your option line, but you also have free will to minimize things, free will to lengthen things. So if you are having dire problems, like say you're in a desert period, which is like the dark night of the soul, and that is a time where you wrote in, I don't want anybody to help me with this. I don't want my spirit guides. I don't want my angels. I don't want God. You're not helping me with this. I'm going to get through it without any help from you. And then you feel like everybody's deserted you. You can feel despair. You can feel awful. Well, then if you realize you're in that situation, ask for the time to be shortened. Ask for you to understand what the lessons are you're supposed to learn from this. I think I've had, I don't remember if it's 3 or 4 desert periods, but the last one I had, I didn't even know I was in a desert period. A friend of mine, I needed to know something. My mentor, Sylvia, had just died, and I needed to know next steps on what was going to happen because she wasn't there to answer any questions. I couldn't ask her spirit guide, although sometimes her spirit guide would come in when I was doing hypnosis with someone. Her spirit guide would come in and talk, give me messages. But I needed to know what to do because there were some issues going on. So I asked one of my hypnosis students who graduated already um, to do hypnosis on me so I could go to the other side and talk to God or talk to a master teacher. Well, I got to the entrance to heaven and I could see the mother goddess, Asna, at the entrance, but it was like, you can't come in. You're not getting any messages. It's like, what? Why can't I do this? And it was a while before I found out, oh, it was a desert period. It's a dark night of the soul. But I wasn't feeling it like that. I didn't feel like it was a dark night of the soul. I guess because I've been through such yucky dark nights of the soul that this one was just like, oh, things are not working right. But I didn't feel it as much. You can ask for things to be minimized. You can ask, if you're in a desert period, ask God to help you get through it and feel okay when you get all the way through. When you're on the other side of it, that you're able to take a breath and just get on with it. So it's something you can ask for. Remember, they're not going to help you through it, but they can help you maybe with emotions, help you stay maybe balanced. But you can ask your God center for that too. You can just say to yourself and aloud, I want my emotions and intellect to be in balance. I want to understand the lessons I'm supposed to learn and be very cognizant of what those lessons are, what I've learned, what I should learn, what my next step should be. So tell your God center that you want to figure this out. You want to take a breath. You want to take some time and understand this time period, but ask for it to be shortened. That you can do. So we are in the time of shift. And right now, free will is important because what do you want in the future? Right now, our physical bodies are changing. If you've decided to ascend, that's another free will choice. Your soul chooses. Are you going to shift to a new dimension? Are you going to ascend, as they say, go to the 5D dimension, 7th D, 9th D, 12th D? People are working at different levels. But are you going to shift or not? You may choose to stay in the experiencing mode of 3D, of regular earthly experiences. And that's your soul's choice. That is a free will choice. Some people are moving to the shift and some people are not, and that's okay. It's whatever your soul chooses to do. Lots of people, you may notice, are moving locations, they're changing careers, they're completely changing what they're doing, maybe what they're thinking. Obviously, countries are changing, governments are changing, Earth climate is changing, Earth itself is changing, volcanoes, earthquakes, all that stuff. That's because we're in the shift. And because we're in the shift, we are in a time of new beginnings. I've talked about the beginning angels. The beginning angels are angels that have come to earth and are helping to create this new dimension. And we decide what the new dimension is going to be and what kind of energy are we bringing in. Right now, um, there are wars, and the wars are to wear down hate and prejudice and have people stand up for what is right. Is your choice. Are you going to stand up for what is right? Are you going to send bubbles of love to the people who are in dire straits? Are you going to take the opportunity to help people when you can? You need to pay attention to your circle, your friends, your family, your community, and take care of them. And then send out positive energy to the rest of the world. You cannot change your single thought can add positive energy or negative energy. So your single thought should be envisioning world peace, envisioning people being well, envisioning the wonderful, positive new dimension and what you want it to be. How would you like schools to be? How would you like jobs to be? How would you like the environment to be? So spend some time maybe thinking about that free will choice, and those thoughts help to create our new reality, our new shifting dimension. Now, don't plan it to the nth degree. Don't say everybody's going to have a purple house. Well, that doesn't allow for other things. Maybe there's going to be other colors we're going to see. On the other side, there are thousands of colors, and we don't see them all on Earth. Maybe we're going to have more colors. There's lots of possibilities. So make it open ended. Anything you're thinking about, make it open ended. And know that if you keep manifesting, you have free will to manifest more than you ever thought. So make it good thoughts, make it positive. Send out loving light to everyone on earth every day. Take care of your community, your family. You cannot control the whole world. You cannot control the whole government. You cannot control other governments, but you can certainly send positive energy. You can send positive thoughts. You can ask for angels to help people, help governments, help individuals, help societies, create havens. You have to ask angels to help. The only angels that can help you specifically is your personal angel, and they make sure that you're allowed to follow your chart. So if someone tries to run you over and that's not in your chart, your angel will move you aside. So they are protective. The rest of the angels are just waiting, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for someone to ask them to help. And be specific. Don't say, help me. Help you what? So you have free will to ask for angels. And there's so many unemployed angels just waiting for you to ask them. So know that you have free will. It's not free will of everything. You have free will for your option line. You have free will to make lateral movement. You can pray to Mother God, Father God. You can ask for, as I did, for all accidents or all harm to be minimized. You can ask for what you want in the future. What do you want the future to be? And be specific. And then let it go. As Francine, the spirit guide, would say, mail the letter. Don't hold your thoughts and keep them to yourself, keep them to yourself, keep them to yourself. You need to send them out to the universe. Mail the letter. So decide what you want, mail the letter and send it out. And then let it be. Let the universe work on it. So, free will. Okay, you do have free will. You do have choices. Make sure you write in your option line. And I think it's exciting that we get to help to create our new dimension. If you're choosing to go there, then what would you like it? The utopia. What would you like that to be? How would you like that to look? How would you like it to feel? How would you like it to see, sense, smell? Maybe you want flowers that smell abundantly wonderful that we don't even have yet. What would you like? What's something you would like in the new dimension? But don't make it so detailed that it's only one possibility. No, everyone has purple houses, and it has to be this color purple. So make it open ended. So take your free will, spend some time this week, and think about filling in your option line and what you want in the future, and perhaps minimizing those accidents and those experiences that could harm you. So put that out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.